So, rejection, silence, repeat. It's becoming a mantra of the modern day job search, but it's a tune you don't have to dance to. Why is it that the world is full of communication, but we find ourselves often shouting into a void? So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really happening. Hi, I'm James Foster, and this is the Career Mastery Revolution. And today, let's talk about the real reasons behind the job search failures and how the CMR, Career Mastery Revolution, is a better way. So let's look at the reason for those failures, shall we? Well, there's the fact that most active jobs are oversubscribed. The whole process is just swamped, and there are more CVs than you can shake a stick at. And so therefore, the process is having to go through a plethora of CVs, and the chances that yours gets pulled out of the top of that are remote. And it's as simple as that. I know there are tools that help with that, and we'll discuss that in a moment, but the sheer volumes themselves are a part of that problem. But then let's have a look at those tools then, the ATS, the applicant tracking system. These days even bolstered with the use of AI, artificial intelligence, and uh, and a supposedly learning algorithm that is going to make them more effective. However, there's an old adage, isn't there? Garbage in, garbage out. If they're not programmed properly in the first place, then what they actually churn out at the end is going to be garbage. And so the people that are programming these are not the right people very often, or they don't have the right material to program them with. They haven't asked the right questions. They go get a generic job ad and they program the algorithm from that generic job ad. And then they go and put in a few criteria about the company, and hopefully the ATS will do the thing, but it doesn't. It's not going to, because anybody that's worked with AI knows they can be stubborn. Uh, they and they don't learn very well at this moment in time. In fact, I would go as far as to say that AI is anything but intelligence at this time. Um, so there's a good reason why you're not getting your CV through that process, but there's more to it than that. The fact is, when you put your CV in, most people, one CV fits all. They got a CV, they want to apply for 10 jobs, they go post 10 times, same CV, 10 different jobs. What do they expect? Those jobs aren't the same. Why should that CV fit them? The fact is that in not spending a little bit of time ahead of making an application to ensure that your CV is going to stand out in that in amongst the CVs that are there, it isn't going to. Unless you've actually looked at what the job advertisement is asking for and answered the questions that it's asking for, well, what do you expect? It's not going to come out to the top of the pile. Spending 10, 15 minutes just adjusting your CV to make sure that you've got the right wording and phraseology and some key points about your achievements that are relevant to that role is going to reap you dividends. It really is. But then, and I've alluded to this already, but then there's failing to highlight your value. Why should they want to know about you? Well, because you can solve their problems. That's why. Why is somebody going to hire you? Because they know that if they bring you in, you're going to take away one of their issues. Simple as that. You're going to make them money. You're going to save them time. You're going to save their business or reputation. You're going to do something for them that is going to impact that company, that hiring manager, their team. It's all about the value that you bring in to that organization. And then we've already alluded to this as well, missing the mark on what the job really requires. Well, quite often, actually, the job misses the mark on what's really required. So you can be forgiven for this for a moment, but it's it's about really understanding what what the hiring manager's problem is. This is so it's tying the whole of this up together. What is he trying to solve? Why does he need you in his team? Or she, of course. um, well, that's the key. And if you're any good at uh, applying for the job, you're going to spend some time really thinking about this. And if you can understand what that problem is, and then you can solve it. It's simple, really. So with these with these roadblocks laid bare, failing to highlight, sorry, laid bare, it's time to explore the better way, which is career mastery revolution. It's not just another method; it's a complete movement towards a new approach. It's about taking the reins of your own career and steering it with purpose. So the whole point about the active job process, applying for jobs online, going after the jobs that you see on LinkedIn, responding to recruiters, etc., is that they're in control of that process. Well, CMR is about putting you back in control of that process, taking control for yourself, steering your own career. And that's really, really vital to understand. There's three principles that we will cover in this part of the CMR. The first of those is around presentation, how you present yourself, how you consistently present yourself across all media, whether that's your CV, whether it's a cover letter, whether it's your LinkedIn profile, whether it's how you present yourself at some event, whatever it is, it's a consistent mechanism by which you are going to present yourself in a way that is going to get people sitting up and wanting to know more about you. Why would they want to come and hear you at an event? Well, only because you're going to deliver something that's really valuable to them. Why will they want to know you about in a job? Well, only because you're going to deliver something that is really valuable to them. You know, it's all the same consistent approach. I deliver value, and we will show you exactly how to do that. And then there's the fact that, you know, we've already talked about going up against the masses, but we will show you exactly how to avoid going up against the masses when you're going for a job or when you're doing anything in this particular line. You know, even if you're looking just for a promotion at work, you don't want to be going up against competition. You need to preset the whole thing and make sure that your promotion happens to you by your design. It's and the mechanism for doing all of this is the same, very similar, very closely approximating. It's about making sure that you get your message to the right person in the right way so that they want to know more about you. And even if they don't have a job, for example, they will invite you to a conversation so that when there is a job, they know you're there. The whole point of this is that you take yourself out of the hiring process. You're not being controlled by a recruitment process. You are controlling your own destiny. You're controlling your own path, and we will give you the tools to do that. And then there's the long term, how you may never need to apply for a job again. Well, perhaps that's a bit of an exaggeration, but not really. If you do this next part right, when you need to apply for a job again, it's already preset, it's already there. You've already got everything in place so that your need for a job is you can push a button effectively and you'll have jobs coming to you. And we're going to show you how you can do that as well. All sounds a little bit far-fetched. Well, it's the career mastery revolution. It's a maverick way to manage your career. We're all about doing things differently, a new approach, taking responsibility for your own career, building it yourself, knowing where you're going and how you're going to get there, and making sure you've got the tools in place to make it happen. It's that simple, really. But so many people don't do it. Some do, and they're the ones that are getting on and are getting ahead in their career. They're the ones that you look at and you go, wow, they're flying, aren't they? Because they know how to control things for themselves. They've positioned themselves. They've preset everything. They've smoothed the way ahead. They know where they're going, and and their direction has purpose. And that's the other side of the CMR program. That's the side we've spoken about this in the past. I'm not going to go into any detail here, but that's the other side of the CMR process. We don't just look at these tools, these strategies for getting ahead in the game. We also talk about understanding what your path has got to be, and also the motivation behind why you're taking that path in the first place, and how you're going to tie that in to every other aspect of your life, because your career is integral to everything that you're doing. Your family life, your domestic life, where you live, all of these things, they're centered on your career, and your career is centered on them. So, you've heard the term career life balance. No, my view is it's just a life balance. We're not talking about your career as a separate entity. It's not a job, it's your life. It's what you do that facilitates everything else in the first place. And we will show you how you can bring all of that together and have a common purpose direction for your life. That's CMR. So, if you're ready to dive in and start making tangible differences, if you're ready to leave the frustration behind and embrace a career path filled with clarity and opportunity, then why not join the Career Mastery Revolution? There's a link with this video in the description. Click that link, pick up our Ultimate Tech Career Guide, and you've started the process. At some point, we will invite you to have a conversation with us, and we will see how we can help you transform your career and your life. This is James Foster, and this is the Careers Mastery Revolution.